This may seem like just another reissue, but it's more important than many people recognize. Let's talk about this and other cool records coming up next. Hi, my name is Frank. Welcome back to Channel 33 RPM, your channel for vinyl, gear, and more. Today I am revisiting and reviewing my favorite Rhino Records from Record Store Day 2023. That is a mouthful. I really do dig their reissues. Speaking of which, in May, Rhino is issuing a deluxe reissue of Black Sabbath's Live Evil. And in June, we have deluxe reissues of Alice Cooper Killer and Alice Cooper's Schools out. I know I am looking forward to those.
Channel 33 RPM.
Before we get knee-deep into the records, I wanted to quickly share this with you. I posted a poll on the Channel 33 RPM community tab on the YouTube page this week asking, how much money did you spend on records this record store date? So out of the people who voted, 65% did not participate. As for the rest of you, man, you spent a lot of cash. 17% of respondents spent between $100 and $500. 1% spent between $500 and $999, and 1% of respondents spent more than $1,000. Happy Record Store Day indeed. Okay, first of all, this is probably the Record Store Day release I was most excited about. This is a 4 LP reissue of Van Halen's Live, right here, right now. This, I got the hype sticker here. I took it off. But the hype sticker said 30th anniversary 4 LP edition. First time on vinyl. That's important. First time on vinyl. Pressed from the original master tapes. Includes 3 bonus tracks. 180 gram translucent red vinyl. So, if you're not aware, this reissue is important for several reasons. First of all, as I just told you, this is the first time this record is available on vinyl. But more importantly, this is the first of the Sammy Hagar era Van Halen records to get the reissue treatment. But the good news is this is not the last of them. I know Michael Anthony did an interview with Eddie Trunk recently, and he was talking about how there's a reissue campaign starting with this. And I know there's been a ton of demand for those Sammy records, right? Particularly for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and Balance. Super expensive to find the original pressings of those albums. So that's totally good news. The other thing is the reissue campaign is being supervised by Don Landry. And if you're not familiar with who Don Landry is, he engineered all those classic Van Halen albums. He was Van Halen's engineer in the 1970s and the 1980s. And apparently, I'm just looking at my notes here, apparently this was mastered by Bernie Grundman. Again, one of the best mastering engineers out there. This is an interesting release because in his book, Sammy Hagar admitted that most of this live album was re-recorded in the studio. Other people have said Sammy's kind of exaggerating how much was recorded because he had a chip on his shoulder. I don't know. I did have the original CD. It was okay. But I gotta say, this record, this vinyl reissue does sound amazing. It's a 4 LP set, and they actually packaged this pretty cool. You open it up, and there's the first gatefold. It opens up again to the second gatefold. It opens up again to the third gatefold. There you go in the back. The records are perfectly flat. It's red, which is appropriate, right? Eddie's classic guitars were red with white stripes. Again, this is awesome. It wasn't cheap. It retailed for $100 in the US. Here in Canada, I noticed the prices fluctuated. I saw it for as low as $120 Canadian to as high. Some stores were selling it in Canada for close to $200 Canadian. It's too bad when you hear about independent stores doing that kind of stuff, but man, I was so happy to get this. It sounds great, and again, just the significance of this. If you're like, oh man, Frank, what's the big deal? The significance of this is the start of the Sammy Hagar, Van Hagar reissue campaign, which I know many of us have been waiting for for many, many years. Next one is DIO, live in Fresno, 1983. Is it just my imagination, or is Ronnie James Dio now more popular than he was when he was alive? Seems to be. There's so much Dio stuff coming out. There's that movie, tons of reissues, and there always seems to be a cool Dio record that comes out on Record Store Day. This is a 2 LP set, 40th anniversary of the classic live show, first time on vinyl, features Rainbow in the Dark, Heaven and Hell, Holy Diver, and it's got that Record Store Day sticker on it. This is a 2 LP set. I still haven't fully taken the shrink off to see the gatefold. I should do it. Just, again, total nerd moment. We've talked about these. When there's really cool hype stickers or these stickers, I always hesitate to take off the shrink wrap. I probably will, and I'll just cut this out and save it and tuck it inside. Anyway, this is another great album. I dig the artwork. This was recorded on the Holy Diver tour. So if you go back in time, if you go back 40 years, this is shortly after Ronnie left Black Sabbath, recorded Holy Diver, classic album, massively successful. They went on this world tour and they recorded this in Fresno. This was limited to 8,000 copies worldwide, retailed for $35 US. It was originally released on the Holy Diver 4 CD box set. First time the whole show is available on vinyl. I gotta say, this sounds amazing. It's punchy, it's in your face. Vivian Campbell's guitar, awesome, sounds awesome. He's totally shredding. Nowadays, Vivian is mostly known for being in Def Leppard, where there's not many opportunities for shredding. Totally shreds on here. There's a great version of Children of the Sea, which is a Black Sabbath song. Heaven and Hell, that was a Sabbath song. Man in the Silver Mountain is on here. Just really, really good. Let me show you the record. It's on red vinyl. Got the custom labels. And this one comes, let me show you this. Comes these polyline sleeves. Always nice to see. And it's really cool to see these Ronnie releases, these Dio releases still coming out. And again, this is a great one. Ronnie James Dio, live in 1983. All right. Here's another band. I swear, these guys are more popular now than they were when these guys were still alive. Seems to be a ton of Ramones stuff coming out, and I always look forward to the Ramones reissues on Record Store Day. This one is no exception. This is Pleasant Dreams, the New York Sessions. I'm just looking at my notes here. I'll tell you more about that in a second. It's 1 LP on 140 gram yellow vinyl, limited to 14,500 copies, retail for $25 US. What does the hype sticker say? Pleasant Dreams and New York mixes. Rough and Almost Ready Ramones, unreleased works in progress from the Ramones' 6th album, produced by Graham Goldman with original alternative cover art. I do dig this cover art. I dig the logo. There's the back. Let me show you what is inside. Inner sleeve. There you go. I just got these a couple days ago, but I have spun them all a couple times because I was super excited to get it. So this one's actually pretty cool. It's remixed, or it's an early mix, right? So it's a little bit different than the version of Pleasant Dreams. Where do I have it? I got Pleasant Dreams right there. It's a little bit different than the version of Pleasant Dreams that we've all come to know and love. It's subtle though, right? If you're not a fan of the Ramones, if you haven't heard this album, you probably wouldn't notice the difference. It's not day and night. On this version, there's a little less polish. It's a little more in your face. And there's some little things, right? Like on We Want the Airwaves, I can more clearly hear an acoustic guitar, I'm pretty sure, behind the main electric. On this version, there's more emphasis on the mids, whereas on the original, I found, anyway, personally, that there's more emphasis on the lows, the bottom end, and the highs. So it overall does have a different sound as well. I think it's super cool. And I love when we hear remixes or early mixes of classic albums or albums we all know and love, because for music nerds like me, it gives a whole different perspective on it. This one, no exception. Ramones, The title is behind the hype sticker. Ramones' Pleasant Dreams, the New York Sessions. This one was interesting. This is Scott Weiland's debut solo album from 1998. Of course, we all know Scott Weiland, rest in peace. He was the vocalist for Stone Temple Pilots, and he was battling demons for years and succumbed to addictions, right? So, sucks, but at least he leaves behind a legacy of really, really good music. Again, this is his debut solo album called 12 Bar Blues. This is limited to 7,500 copies. It retailed for $35 US. And this cover looks a little bit familiar to you. It should. This is an homage to the cover design of John Coltrane's Blue Train. This was a commercial flop for all intents and purposes, but I always kind of dug it, right? There's some good tracks on here. Barbarella probably being the biggest, or at least my favorite. What's the hype sticker say? 25th anniversary 2LP edition, first time on vinyl, cut from the original master tapes on blue-green vinyl, contains 3 previously unreleased tracks. Again, nerd, Frank the nerd. I haven't taken the shrink wrap off of there, but we'll show you the records. The color does kind of match the whole color scheme of the album, right? Again, being blue and green. So there's the green record. Can you see that? There's the green record. There's the blue record. Again, packaged really well, mastered really well, pressed really well, sounds good, and brings me really back, because I haven't heard much of this album probably since the 90s. For whatever reason, at least for me, it was kind of forgotten about or filed away in my mental vault. So it's really good to see this one back out. Scott Weiland, 12 Bar Blues. And finally, I do have a sweet spot for this band. I don't want to talk about them too much, but it brings me back to the 80s and being a kid. This is Duran Duran Rio Carnival, and this is an album of remixes. It was limited to 10,000 copies. Sold for $25 US. It was originally released in 1982, and there were different versions in different markets. And this compiles some of the best tracks from those versions. Hype sticker says, this is actually a kind of cool hype sticker. It's that gold. It's not really foil. I guess it is kind of foil. It says Record Store Day exclusive, brand new collection of original Rio remixes, celebrating 40 years of the classic album. So these tracks are all off Rio, which, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably Duran's biggest album, or one of their biggest albums, limited to 10,000 copies. So you may be asking, what are the tracks on here? Well, we got Rio, of course, the night version, My Own Way, Hungry Like the Wolf, Hold Back the Rain, New Religion, and Rio Part 2. And again, all remixes. Even the artwork here is totally 80s, right? Early 80s. And you'll see what I mean when I actually show you the record, because colors kind of all go together, right? There's the jacket, there's the inner sleeve. Very 80s. And check out the record. It totally matches the scheme of the whole record. So it's always cool when that extra thought is put into the whole package. Again, this one sounds great. Of course, I would have loved it. Of course, I would have loved it if there were more tracks on here, but it's a reissue of previously issued stuff, so it is what it is. And it is a fun listen. It takes me back to the day. This is a Duran Duran Rio Carnival. All right, 33ers, did you pick up any of these records? What did you think of them? Let me know. If you dug this video, I think you'll like this other episode up on the screen. I'll see you there in a couple of minutes. Till then, keep on spinning.